Jam, Nirvana, Alice in Chains and Soundgarden ruled the rock airwaves, but at the same time, there was something different, something special, something mind-blowing happening in Houston. There was us. We were fun, we were loud, lewd, tattooed, dirty, and sometimes downright ruthless, and we could care less what anyone else thought. We didn't get the respect we deserved. We demanded it. Bands like Spunk, Sprawl, and Dead Horse blew this city apart and left thousands chomping at the bit for their piece of the Houston music map. We came, we saw, and we destroyed. As far as we were concerned, no other place could compare to us. Call it cocky or what you will, we called it ours. We were family, highly dysfunctional in some ways, but we were still family. We loved each other, we hated each other, but when it counted, we came together and had the times of our lives. This was our time, a time filled with greatness, sadness, enlightenment, and entitlement. Whatever you call it, we were born to be down, and this is the story, when we ruled H-Town.
My favorite band was always Dead Horse.
Dead Horse. Who was? I've heard that name before.
No. Do I know you?
Get away from me. Stranger danger.
Dead Horse for sure. You know what? Hands down, Dead Horse.
I remember going to see Dead Horse and then leaving, realizing they were, they were a local band. And when I saw the show, I really didn't know it. I was just like, what? That's a Houston band?
I would show up at Dead Horse shows, and people who knew me there would always act a little surprised because I was wearing Guatemalan shorts and I had long dreadlocks and I was, from a different scene. But just hands down, they were my favorite band. Their shows were just amazing events.
They were just amazing. It was just incredible.
The Horse was the most professional band in the scene, man. They were the only ones that got picked up.
It never leaves me. Man, really isn't a day that goes by that I'm not somehow affected by Dead Horse. And I hope that's the same way for the other guys, and I hope that they actually embrace it too, because it was such it was a really memorable time, and it was a unique time, and it was a great time with great chemistry. So it was a real special time.
Everything still clicked. I mean, the core of the band, like, we got Mike in there, it really started, it was a unit. It really took off from there.
I think just going through it together and really, we were brothers. Randy was my true brother, but the five of us were a team, but we were family, and we were really truly living it. We'd wake up, and that's what the word of the day was: Dead Horse, every day.
I remember sitting out in front of the Vatican one night, and Dead Horse was playing, and it was freaking freezing, and it was raining, and I remember sitting there thinking, oh man, I'm probably gonna get sick, but saying, I don't give a fuck, it's Dead Horse, man. And I remember getting into the place, and it was ridiculously packed. It was almost bad. But once the show started, man, it was, I don't know. I remember seeing everyone there.
They just come out of the woodworks. I mean, people always tried to label us this or label us that. I'm like, well, we just have our own thing. We write our music and play what we got.
That band was good, dude. That band was really good. They were totally a different side of the world from us, but the same fans. That's the weird thing, is that back then kids went to shows. It didn't matter if it was punk rock, Judas. You'd see people at a Judas Priest. You see people at a Rush show that you'd see at a Spunk show.
There's all kinds of different types of people coming out to see us play.
Yeah, it wasn't like we set out to do that or nothing. That was no genius design or nothing. And like he said, we weren't trying to be any particular band.
Just playing our stuff,
Dead Horse,
they were on that level. They were on that level of like breaking Houston, you know, off being like, yeah, Houston, you need to watch out. Who's next?
We'd go down to the Axiom, which was just, I mean, you know, I'm a 15-year-old kid, and that place was scary to me, you know. And I remember seeing Dead Horse, and for the first time, and that was it, you know. I think I caught every single local show they did from that point on. I mean, shows on holidays, it didn't matter.
Maybe the shit we're into came out through the music, you know, because Ronnie introduced us to the Mentors. I never really heard of him until I met him, and when we met him, he had cassettes in his truck of all kind of fucking weird shit he recorded off KPFT and stuff, and a bunch of noise and all kind of weird shit, man. And me and Mike actually had been listening to a lot of weird alternative shit too, and we were hanging out before that. So everybody, it wasn't like, you know, we're a bunch of, you know, kids that just sat around and listened to Black Sabbath and fucking nothing else, you know. We all like weird shit.
Dead Horse ruled. I remember waking up the next day after a Dead Horse show going, damn, my neck hurts. And then we remembered we were at a Dead Horse show the night before.
They were just brutal, great rockin', it was just brutal, great rockin' music, and they were, you know, deeply ironic at the same time. It was, I mean, they were exactly what I liked at that time. They're my favorite.
Dead Horse, we had a great camaraderie. I mean, you know, we were brothers, and I mean, we traveled together. You know, we were some poor people. You know, I moved out when I was 17. I was living on my own, and everybody else, you know, had a job here and there. But you know, we were poor. You know, we were living off of the 39-cent tacos at Taco Bell, man. You know, when Dead Horse would get ready to go do a show, we would stop by the Taco Bell and spend a couple dollars.
We saw Dead Horse open for Testament.
Yeah.
And the crowd was just as into Dead Horse as they were into Testament at the time.
If not more.
Yeah, and this was like the heyday of the metal years. Like, fucking metal to the max, and Dead Horse was killing it.
Yeah, and when you listen back at Dead Horse, they were a metal band, but they really, you know, more punk to me. Like,
yeah, because they had
thrash and punk influence.
Because they had a sense of humor.
Yeah, you know,
with everything, you know.
One of the most memorable shows in Houston was the Houston Press Music Awards show at the, I think it was at the Wortham or the arena downtown.
The nominees are Dead Horse.
It was all like well-to-do people, like, you know, music bigwigs and city officials, all like snotty and suits and stuff like that.
Dead Horse.
And everything was cool. Everything was all like sit in your seats and watch the show until Dead Horse came on stage, and the back of the place either erupted and all these kids came up front and started destroying stuff, and all those suits and stuff left. It was amazing. It was so cool. I'd never forget that. I mean, that's the best. That's my best Dead Horse memory when they played the Houston Press Music Awards show. And I don't remember what year that was, but that was crazy. That was insane. People didn't know what to do, you know. They were because the people that were running were like, oh my God, you know, these people are slam dancing, you know. And people were throwing stuff and just going crazy. And Dead Horse had that effect. People lost their mind when Dead Horse played. What?
Dead Horse definitely had a big impact on me. Those guys should have been way, way bigger than they were.
Oh, I wish we had.
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
I wouldn't be working right now or needing a job. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's flattering, you know. That's cool. Shit, I wish they were right.
They could come in and do the Vatican and play 2 nights in a row and sell it out, you know. And I don't think any other local band was doing that at that time.
Dead Horse was great, but they had a lot of hit or miss issues between band members, or they got the short end of the stick with different labels.
There was a lot of labels that were interested, but nobody really wanted to pull the trigger on anything because we were going back and forth. And, you know, this is my favorite story. You know, we had, Interscope coming down to see us play at the Axiom. And they were the guy who was in charge of deciding who gets signed through the next band label.
Main A&R guy.
Yeah, he come down and he went to go see the Toadies in Dallas. And then he came to see us in Houston at the Axiom. And we brought in our own sound system. We brought in our own light rig. I mean, it was the biggest show we'd ever put on at the Axiom. And we were drawing so much power at the Axiom. I mean, the place was packed. I mean, there was a line out the door. He's here to watch us play. We're sitting there. We played, 5 or 6 songs. We blew the power grid for the whole block because we had so much crap going on. And it was like HL&P came out. They had to go and throw the switch and turn the breakers back on the pole outside. And we were able to resume our show and we played. And, I mean, it was a huge production. It was one of the best shows I think we put on at that place. And then they go back and they sign the Toadies. And I'm like, the Toadies have never been out of Texas, never done anything. We've toured nationally out of our own pocket 3 times, sold 100 grand of merchandise. We've been everywhere. We were seasoned, you know, doing it out of our own the whole time, and they signed them. So, I mean, to me, that all the major record labels can go fuck themselves, you know, because it's a reason like that maybe Houston didn't get on the map. A lot of bands, the people who decide who gets signed don't know the first thing about who people really want to hear. Yeah. It's all, you know, politics, who they think everybody wants to hear. It's a bunch of crap, and I mean, that's one of the reasons I've been pissed off about the music industry in general, because, like you said, I mean, I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but we had a lot going for us at the time, and we were right there ready to pull the trigger and go. And they signed a band that really had no history of anything. And
well, they had commercial appeal. You could tell that. I mean,
that's all fine, but you know, we'd proven ourselves. I think we'd proven ourselves time and time again.
I agree.
And it just blows back to the same thing. The people who make those decisions don't really know what's going on. Know what'll sell, because we know we could sell because we were selling ourselves for 10 years before that happened.
Oh yeah, we were a bunch of teenagers wanted to fucking rock and roll, and we didn't know shit, you know. When I see JR these days, we talk about why did it work, or why was it special, or what were we doing? And it's sort of like, yeah, man, we didn't know what we were doing, and we were really naive. But I think that's why it was kind of neat, and we were all exploring this uncharted area of music. You know, there really wasn't a lot of bands to emulate. Houston bands, you know, so I mean, maybe ZZ Top or something, I guess, is some of the local bands that you would have known of.
Dead Horse was the game changer. And I don't say that because of the realm of music they were in for us, but they were on the cusp. I mean, they were right there. I mean, every other week something good was happening to that band. We were so pissed off, even though they were our friends. You know, we were going, damn it, man, they just got another really good deal. And I'm sure they'll tell you, no, we didn't. But, you know, if they would have broke, I really think it would have opened up a lot more doors. Because I think they were there. They had, Houston got a lot of great attention because of them.
Crawl, my white boy punk band, was playing with Dead Horse. And we had developed a friendship with Dead Horse, probably to the dismay of our fans and their fans. We were doing a psychedelic white boy funk, and they were doing this, I guess, thrash, humorous thrash metal.
Dead Horse was like the band that, when we did shows with them, like it was some of our craziest shows. We played a Halloween show with them at the Vatican, and it was just like this incredible, confluence of people that were into funky stuff and people were into heavy stuff. Somehow, like, my costume was like, I had a pumpkin stuck on my head, and it was kind of dripping down over my whole body while I was playing, like this gooey pumpkin stuff. So I was a jack-o'-lantern that night.
Oh yeah, well the first thing that really upset the crowd was this band Nipples of Isis from New Orleans played, and so there was 3 bands. Nipples of Isis was basically a band that sounded like Miles Davis fronting the Butthole Surfers. So they played for 90 minutes, at which point the Dead Horse crowd was, ready to drop blood. And we came on stage. Long story short, there were huge shards of pumpkin all over the place, and the Dead Horse crowd, they gave us probably a couple minutes, and at which point they decided that Sprawl was the band they wanted to draw blood from, and the weapon of choice was going to be pumpkin shards. And they were, I don't know, I guess it was sort of that, you know, I had that fear of death thing going on the entire show, where these angry, you know, meth, let's stereotype, meth heads from Pasadena were chucking pumpkin shards in my head from about 5 feet away for about a 45-minute set. That was good. That was good. It was made me glad to be alive once we got off stage intact. Of course, Dead Horse came up and just slayed. It's always the best shows from them.
I think one of the worst shows was we got told we needed to play. Dead Horse had canceled their show, or they just broke up and were playing South by Southwest. So Chris, who was our manager at the time, was working with, I guess it was Tom Bunch or somebody, and got Wishbone Bush to fill in for Dead Horse, South by Southwest. So I already knew that wasn't a good deal, you know. So we get up there to Austin and get our equipment unloaded, and we see on the bill still has Dead Horse on there on the marquee. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. Sure enough, it wasn't. We got on, there was a bunch of heavy metal Mexicans waiting for Dead Horse. Here we are playing funk, and we got booed off the stage, and that was our worst show.
We didn't want to play South by Southwest. Actually, we tried, but South by Southwest basically is a fucking joke. How many bands have gotten signed from that shit?
None.
Zero?
None.
Yeah, it's
a big propaganda to sell a buttload of tickets, a buttload of clubs,
basically
and a bunch of bands. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a big financial shot in the arm for Austin is all it is. You know, I'm not hating on Austin. I guess it sounds like I am. I'm not. I just don't like South by Southwest. Yeah. It's the capital of Texas, man. I can't hate Austin. There's no way. But, you know, just South by Southwest is pretty much the way we see it is a dud.
It's just a waste of time.
Yeah. That might be because they didn't want us there, but still.
Well, we still went on to do our thing like we usually do, so.
We don't need it.
Pantera was wearing their T-shirts on some of their early videos that we're doing.
Phil and Kurt actually from Crowbar would come to our shows at Joe's Garage, and they came to like 2 or 3 of them, and some dude wanted to introduce us to Phil, and we followed him over there. I think that was even outside before we even got in. And they introduced us to Phil and fucking Kurt, and they were both, you know, I mean, we already knew who they were. It was pretty cool meeting them, and they were cool as shit, man. They didn't, even one of them acted like we needed to, you know, to feel subservient to them or anything like that, or, you know, I mean, and shit, man, we bullshitted from then on, and whenever he could, I guess they made, or whenever they could, they made shows. And Phil put us up at his house a couple of times in New Orleans.
You threw up on his air conditioner?
Still catch shit over that, man. Fucking puke, man. I had killed a whole bottle of Jack Daniels, and they're all in there smogging out and having fun and shit, so I went in there to talk to them. I'm already got one hand on the wall. Man, when my foot sunk in that floor, oh, that was it. It started the room spinning, and I went out the door, the side door of the house. I just opened the door and stepped around and I just emptied my guts, man. It was all over his air conditioner. Just been fucking raising hell about that shit, you know?
They won't let you forget that one.
Yeah.
I think when Slipknot actually was a platinum band, I remember there being sort of this buzz of everybody going, wow, man, a thrash death metal band actually sold 1 million records. I don't think that we knew one way or the other that if you could be super huge and be a death metal band, you know, because there weren't any super huge death metal bands. I don't know that a band at that period of time, that a band playing what we were playing could have gotten signed to a couple $100,000 contract with Warner Brothers or something, you know?
I think there were some rivalries in Houston, you know, between some bands. I mean, in fact, I know there were, you know, like some bands would be upset that like one band got a gig and they didn't, or why aren't we on that bill, or whatever. I think universally when the whole, I think they signed to what, Big Chief or something with the label. I didn't meet one person in Houston. I was kind of off and on working part-time at the Axiom whenever a show came in and they needed some help. And I remember when I heard about it, and just everybody that you knew, that was in the scene, that knew them or didn't know them, was excited about it. It was like, all right, finally. It's a great band. Everybody knows it. They're getting signed. This is going to open the door, you know.
Everybody was coming together at this one certain point. We were all pretty young and naive, and we just got up there and saw what the fuck happened when we got up on stage. And we had some ideas that, hey, man, you know, bash the fuck out. That was the way that we were talking about what we were doing. I'm sure there's just so much, you know. I wish my guys were, Dead Horse guys were here. Just mainly, I mean, it really was a special time and an important time for so many people.